My name is Marc Steiner. I was a member of the London Bahá'í Community from the year 1970 to the year 2000, which is really 30 years of my entire life. So I always call London my home, and definitely my experience with the Bahá'í community as being a wonderful time in my life. Uh, I grew up in a family with two older brothers, Roy and Renee, and my mother and father, Renee and Noura Steiner, and at times my Persian grandmother as well. Um, Again, we're looking at the history of the Baha'i world in the past 100 years, and London has had a pretty amazing history as well. I've looked at it from a point of growth over the past 50 years, and I look and see how small the community was when I was first there, just a couple of families, and how it's grown into such a diverse community with people from all over, in the hundreds now. And I always remember it as a community that kept growing and developing. The local spiritual assembly became more mature with time. They created committees that helped address issues within the Baha'i community and the community at large. And so I always felt that London was kind of ahead of its time in terms of the Baha'i world, because it was putting things into practice that we're seeing now, like the focus on the community building and society building that we're seeing, children and youth of the community, many of which have gone out to the rest of the world and served in many different communities in a very positive way. They've brought life to other families around the world. The youth from the London area, many went to the Baha'i World Center in Israel to be of service, and they've gone pioneering to other parts of the world as well. So it's really been wonderful to see the contributions of the London community over the years. And I know my parents, Noura and Renee, even though they're no longer here, I'm sure their prayers and their thoughts are always with the London community, because a large part of their life was spent in terms of serving the faith within that community area. And I'm just proud to be part of the vision of the London community. So even though I'm here in Hong Kong, I work at the Canadian International School of Hong Kong. I'm still always part of the London community. I love seeing all the beautiful souls that I still feel connected to and really part of family with, since my time there. And those bonds will never go, even though I'm not physically there spiritually. I am always with them and love them very much. Look at the past 100 years of the whole Baha'i world community. It's just nice to see where London has come from and gone to. There were also the Association for Baha'i Studies at the University of Western University. There were a lot of activities that went on. We had a lot of international conferences that took place in London in the 1980s, and our assembly was one of the local spiritual assembly was one of the first assemblies to really focus on the Ruhi Institute and bringing together people to put into practice the teachings of Baha'u'llah on a regular basis. So again, I just wanted to give my regards to the London community. Have a wonderful celebration and commemoration, and just a wonderful conference again, and know that there are Baha'is all over the world who have a connection to London, that wish you all the best. And again, a lot of love, and thinking of all those children. Remember that we're mines rich in gems of inestimable value, and education alone can cause them to reveal their splendors. I always have looked at that quotation from the writings as being one of the things to look at when you are teaching children. And my hope is that generations continue to polish those gems and contribute to the world in a very positive way. And also to recognize that we need to support one another in this world that sometimes seems a little bit out of whack. So we're building that new world order as the old one crumbles down, and we have to support one another during this time. Anyways, take good care.